I'd like to call this meeting to order. The January 25th, 2024 regular meeting of Piqua City Schools Board of Education. Please, Jeremy, roll call.
Mr. Mitchell.
Here.
Mrs. McMacken.
Here.
Mrs. Mars.
Here.
Mr. Frazier. Here. Mr. Ford.
Here. All right. Everyone rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everyone should have received a copy of the minutes from the November 30th board meeting and December 14th regular meeting and January 11th, 2024 organizational meeting. So if there's any questions on the minutes or any addendums? No? All right, I will take a motion for approval of the minutes. So moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. Dwayne, special presentation?
Yeah, so January is Board Appreciation Month, and I'm glad they give you a whole month, not just a day, because you do a lot of work to support our students and staff, so we do really appreciate that. Braden, we appreciate you being our student representative and joining our team and giving us that student voice as well. So each year we like to do something special for you, so each building has a presentation for you, and I'll let them decide who wants to go first, but they might come up and say a few words and just do a nice token from their students and staff.
Before we get there, we need to actually approve the agenda.
Oh.
We forgot to do that.
Okay.
We need approval of the agenda, so I'll take a motion for that.
I say. I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign? All right, we have approval of the agenda. There you
Onward to appreciation. Who would like to go first?
Mr. Messer.
Mr. Messick.
You can do it from your seat.
Yeah, can you do it for me?
Do you want to talk and all?
It's from our high school, our art club. Put together some cards for you guys, and then the high school students would invite you to come join us and
Thank you.
for a coffee at the coffee shop.
Nice.
No problem. Can't wait to see you there.
The
Thank you,
coffee
Mr.
shop's
Messick.
a big hit.
Thank you.
huh?
It's a huge hit.
Braden, I have one
Huge.
for Braden. I'm gonna skip Braden's,
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
very nice.
Thank you, sir.
If you haven't been to the coffee shop, you're going to enjoy it. They do a really great job there. Mr. Mess's good ideas from his student advisory, and they both worked together and put that together, and it's been a really great program for them. Ms. Clark, you want to go
And
next?
from the junior high, again, I know Dwayne said this, but just our staff is very well aware and will express openly how supported they feel on a daily basis from you, from the community, from the folks here at the board. So we have a card and a small token of appreciation for our staff at junior high. And Braden, I have to give you an IOU, buddy. I messed up. I'm sorry.
I second
We'll take
that
care
one,
of you.
so you're going to get a lot of gifts over the next couple of days.
Hey, Braden.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
You will.
Yeah, and same here. Thank you so much for everything you do, all the support that you give us. I do want to say, if you're ever having a bad day or a bad week, feel free to stop out to either Central or any of those schools. I mean, you guys do this for the kids, ultimately, and we have awesome kids here in Piqua. So you ever need to pump up, stop on out, and there'll be one little guy or one little girl that'll really make it all worth it. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Jojo.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Butler.
Yep.
I'd
Kayla?
like to say ditto to that, but this was a great opportunity for our students at Washington to talk about service to our community. So as we talk about our RK, respect, responsibility, and kindness, and our Piqua pride, the teachers spent some time talking to the students about your role and what you do to support our school. And so each of you will have a bag with some various cards and little pieces of writing from our students talking about what they love about Piqua and our Piqua Pride. We have one large card we're going to present to our board president to share with all of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Butler from Spring Creek.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. We do also very much appreciate everything that you do to support our students. At the K-3 level, we asked our kindergarten students to make you something special because we do know they're the heart of our district as they're just joining us at their young age. But they made you some special signs that say thank you for being an important piece in our puzzle to success. So you can see that you're in the center of all the important things that are happening in our district. So thank you very much for all you do for us and our students.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks to each of our principals and schools. Again, I hope you know we do really appreciate everything that you do that supports us through every day. I mean, every day we value what you do for us, so thank you for that. Principals, you're welcome to stay if you want. You don't have to. I know you've been very busy with some late nights, so feel free to leave at this time if you want, or you're welcome to stay.
Real quick before you leave, I just want, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you guys for everything that you do. You know, the kids are the main reason why we're here, but we also need to take care of the people that take care of the kids. And thank you for everything that you guys do, and we're going to do our best to help make sure that you guys can take care of those kids the best way possible. So thank you very much for everything that you do as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I gotta stay, you guys stay.
All right, we have nothing hearing of the public. And we'll just move right into Jeremy's treasurer's report.
Good evening. The first item on there is the audit update. The audit is finished. Everything's been submitted, and everything came back clean. So we have another clean audit this year, and that would qualify the district to get the wonderful Ohio Auditor States Award with distinction that Sean loves so much.
I think I get that award this year because I was on the committee.
Cool.
Clean audit committee. That's good.
So that's the good news. So nothing exciting to report there except that we have a clean report. So that's always fun.
Which is exciting. in
It is
itself.
exciting by itself, exactly. And then mid-fiscal year update. So in the reports, you'll see that, let me get to there myself. You'll see that we are running right on target as far as being able to stay this year in the black. I'm trying to get to my. And so at this point, obviously, we want everything on the revenue end to be at least 50%, and on the expenditure end to be under 50%. There is no presentation up there. Just going to talk. So at this point, our total revenues are at 52% halfway through the year, so they're above. Our total expenses are below 50% at 49%, so we're about 3% to the good on that. So everything is running well at this point in time, and I don't see any reason why, unless something crazy comes out of Columbus, that we can't finish this year in the black. So I always preface that because you just never know what happens. But at this point in time, we're on target and everything is running well, and the budget is right on where it should be. So that's all I really have for that. Then we'll get to the actual agenda items. Were there any questions on the monthly fiscal reports? I did have one question about the monthly fiscal reports that I am prepared to answer, which was we have a lot of extra revenue in the miscellaneous revenue account. And so there are two things that are contributing to that. One, we got a payment that we should have received in FY23. We received in FY24, which was for Medicaid reimbursement for all of our psychs and nurses that take care of our students' needs. We get Medicaid money for that, so that check came late, so it lowered the amount that we should have received in '23, increased the amount in '24, so this year it's gonna look like '24 blew it completely out of
Right.
water, even though one of them should have been in '23. And the other reason for that is, so far, halfway through the year, our interest earnings are up $370,000 over last year. Interest rates have increased, hence interest rates have made additional revenue, and so that's where the interest line item comes into play. So those are the two reasons why, and that Medicaid check is around $25,000. So you take those two things into account, and that would answer your question as to why it's running above.
And that was totally for the last school year?
Yes, that was an FY23 thing.
And I was looking for that, because I remember I asked you about that. I was looking for it on, I
Yep.
couldn't find it on the 5-year
Yeah.
report.
So it was running like $600,000 above, and that pretty much answers the question why we're 600,000 ahead of where we were at this time last year. Because those two items, so there you go.
Thank you.
No problem. Other things on my report, we had the annual approval of the biannual approval of the payroll adjustments in accordance with the PA contract, so we had column moves as well as tuition reimbursement. This was a pretty light year as far as tuition reimbursement was concerned. We ended up with $5,544, or for the entire fiscal year, we're at $10,574.65 in tuition reimbursement. And this year, or this semester, we had 3 people moving, 2 to a bachelor's plus 15 and 1 to a 5. So it's a fairly light year for tuition reimbursement this year. The next item on here is authorizing the EPC, the Southwestern Educational Purchasing Council, to go out for bid for our natural gas contracts, and we've been doing this since I got here. I think we were probably doing it prior to me getting here. We use the EPC to get our natural gas, and we've saved tons of money. I've had people in studying it to make sure, and it's by far the best deal that you're going to get in natural gas. So this is just allowing them to continue to do that for us. They're getting ready to make some purchases, and they need that approved. And then there's a
How often, I'm sorry to interrupt you, how often do we do that?
Every 3 to 5 years, it ebb and flows. Like, they sort of watch when they think spikes are coming, so they'll try to buy ahead of time before prices go up. And so for whatever reason, at this point, it's time to do it again, because they said that this is to get us through 2030. So that's another 5 years on top of that. So, but we'll actually trade gas. Like, they have a whole group on that committee that they'll trade it. Like, if we have a better price and we can make more money off it, they've done all kinds of things so that it ends up coming back, and then we end up saving even more money on our natural gas. So it's a pretty cool use of a co-op to be able to get that pricing. But it's a whole nother world, like, above and beyond anything I know about when you're getting into commodity trading. So that's why they have a good team doing that, not me. And then there's step adjustments in here for one of my staff members for effective January 1st of 2024. So giving her credit for years of service prior to her taking this role. Are there any questions? That's all I have.
All right, hear any questions? We do need to take a roll call for the approval of the treasurer's agenda.
I think the internet has stopped working.
We need to approve a new computer for you, Gary.
It's okay. I can read. We're good. Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye.
Mrs. Mars.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier. Mr. Ford.
Aye. All right, moving on to superintendent's report.
Thank you. We already talked about Appreciation Month, so we'll move on to the next topic, which is our district calendars. We usually do these every 2 years, so it's time for us to get ready for next year's calendar and then the year following that. There are no real changes in the format from what we've had over the last 2 years. We're still working from a Labor Day to Memorial Day calendar. Still the same breaks at Christmas time and spring break. With the way Christmas and New Year fell this year, we were really kind of just locked into how things fell in place. So there wasn't a lot of variances in here. The only difference that we made in these calendars was the last two in October. There were some kind of at-risk conferences that the elementary primary teachers wanted. We did not do this time, and as you've heard, the dyslexia stuff is coming our way, so there are new assessments that those students have to have. And the teachers felt like they weren't going to have all that ready in time for an October conference. So instead of having those early ones for at-risk, they're just moving them back to November, which is what we have done for years, so they can make sure they have all the information they have to be able to meet with parents and get accurate information. So that's really the only change. There's nothing really different on here. Committee representation from staff members, ranging from teachers to classified members, central office people. You can see in the back the calculations for all the hours that we have to accommodate for state requirements. They're all in place. So a lot of eyes have looked at it and multiple times. So I think every time I looked at it, the last 5 times I found one little glitch here or there, but I think we're down to everything matches up. So with your approval, we'll be able to get this on the website and then communicate it to important people like the Career Center needs it, some city workers need it, and so on. So we want to get that out. Then staff and families can also begin plans for next year if they have to make any plans that they want to, vacation or do anything like that. So are there any questions that you see on here?
I always think that's a good committee that does that.
It's a very good committee.
They ask the teachers, each building, to bring their own copy of what they think the
Yep.
schedule should be. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
And unique enough, we kind of asked at this time, who has samples, and everybody pretty much had the same, because again, how everything fell. There was no real opportunity for a variance of let's move this here, move that there. So even spring break with testing and Good Friday and how that all worked, you're kind of almost forced into where that falls. So just not a lot of opportunities for big changes in terms of what we do. So they look very similar to what we've done the last 2 years.
I hear all good things about when we start and when we end.
I've only had good comments, yeah.
Anybody's unhappy with that.
No, we used to have conflict with fair, or sometimes people would do 4-H projects and that would conflict with it, or travel plans or whatever, but I truly have only received positive feedback on this calendar, yeah. Okay. So there's that, and then Mr. Messick would like to present with you the course of study. Do you want me to bring a mic to you, or do you want to try to get up to it? Get up there to it?
Take me time. Make the meeting go longer, guys, sorry.
Don't hurt your other leg.
You can go 8 inches further and use the mic if you like.
But he said this one wasn't
You
working.
do rock star status right there. So every year we just kind of go over some of the changes of the course book. So one of the big things I kind of really want to highlight, this is really a group effort, and you guys are involved in this. I don't know if you know this or not, but we've really started getting a lot more College Credit Plus teachers or qualifying teachers to be able to teach College Credit Plus. Tony, when he puts out the last 3 years, when he puts out our job vacancies, he asks for College Credit Plus certification, and then in the interview process, would you be willing to get College Credit Plus? And then Scott and Jeremy get together, and then I assume somewhere down the line with your guys' approval, we figure out how we're going to get those classes paid for those teachers so that they can bring these classes to our building. Because under the current, all the kids are leaving our building to go to other places, and we feel like our building's the best place for them to be. So there's been a huge commitment from that, so thank you guys for doing that for us. Because of that, we have now a full, we started out with a English class, Edison English class, taught by Mrs. Buer. And as we always say, kids love taking classes under certain teachers, and now we have, they've asked, we went to the kids and asked about new English classes to be offered, and we're going to offer 2 more series of English classes for College Credit Plus within our building. So we are going to do Intro to Communications, which used to be the highest enrollment of all of the off-site Edison. Now that's going to be offered in our building. So with the idea of our kids being able to stay in there. And then the other one, the kids selected, because we wanted it as a semester class, we needed something for the second semester. They decided they're going to do fiction writing. And like I said, this was brought to from our kids, going to them, what do they want, working with Edison, so on and so forth. So those are the two real big additions. We have a new ASL teacher, and she's doing an amazing job, amazing teacher, Danny Miller. And we are now looking, actually, there's enough interest in now to have an ASL 4. So that's really big. So I mean, they'll be full able to interpret at that point. Now, it's probably going to end up being an independent study, depending on, you know, how many kids, but still it's neat just to see that growth in that program. And then Casey Pace has a class called Service Learning. Basically, it's community reach back from Piqua High School. It also helps out with some of our graduation pathways. But the kids have come to us and said, hey, we really like this, and we would like to be able to do it again. So we are now adding the Service Learning 2 class. So once again, all these things are coming from our student requests. And of course, we know that they're good, you know. But like I said, the kids have come out and said these things to us. So that's kind of where we are. Because we're offering communications, Mrs. Allen's not offering speech. We had to get to work through that, but so we're going to have that. That's no longer offered. We made a change in aviation. We're going to drone and
introduction. So the one of the classes will be focused on unmanned aerial vehicles or drones, and the other one will be on traditional aviation, learning about flight mechanics, flight physics, flight simulators, and leading to eventually, if the students want to, ground school training. So there are two different branches now, so that the students can take either or, and not at the same time, so they don't conflict. It made them a
And
little
that's
bit
next
more.
year?
Next year.
At Piqua High School.
At Piqua High School, we have a full drone program. We invested some funding this year for that. They have 14 different drones. They will vary from controlled by humans to programming. They're programming drones now, so they use Python coding to make sure that they can be autonomous. So when you see those drone programs and they fly up and they do all these formations, those are programmed drones. Our students are learning to do that.
Now, can a JVS student that's over there for engineering, will they be able, I know it varies, a morning and then the next event. Are they available so that they can take them when they're at Piqua High School?
Yeah, so generally, we have, Mrs. Marks, we have all kinds of, it's the same thing. If kids want to take we have some kids that take the engineering program over there, but they'll take classes with us. We have that relationship with the Career Center to do those things. Most of these classes are actually freshman, sophomore oriented anyway. They're more introductory classes. And it's kind of interesting because we've had them for a while, but the ebbs and flows of class selection with kids, changes. I believe the big spike happened is, I think, Scott, down in junior high, you put a whole drone, they had a drone, not soccer, drone, yeah.
It's kind of like drone soccer almost, and kids went up and said, hey, this is pretty interesting. I'd like to learn more about this, so now they can expand on it.
Right, and so, yeah, they'll come, So there we go. Those are the big changes. We no longer offer, and the other last one is we no longer offer French. God, I think when I first took Tony, when we first took her, we had German, Chinese, French, Spanish, and Spanish. And then,
Half-time German at that point.
yeah, and the enrollment in the classes just continued to keep dropping. And the ASL really took a lot of kids, and so the French program. We didn't have French this year, but we wanted to make sure that those kids that were already started French had the opportunity to finish out, to get their honors diploma. So Scott made arrangements with Cuyahoga County Schools.
Lorraine
or-
Community College.
That's what it's
The only
called.
one in Ohio that would offer that.
French. And those kids are now completed because it was a first semester class. So that's the reason why we're saying we don't have that right now.
So Spanish and ASL.
Spanish and ASL is what we got right now.
Is
we're
most
looking at-
schools,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, do other schools offer like French and all those other ones, or are they getting away from them too?
Most, there's a couple reasons. Yes, there's some that still offer 3. A lot of people have a part-time French teacher. Yeah, there's not seen it. ASL is the new hot one. You know, we got into the game pretty early, which made it pretty easy for us. But there's a lot of schools that are just straight Spanish now.
Wow.
The challenge is twofold. The kids gravitate toward Spanish, and if there is an ASL program, the other side of that, it's incredibly challenging to find a teacher in either French or German. So,
Rob, what does 4 years of ASL now, how does that translate when you go to college? Does it mean you go in with some ASL credit?
Yes, you can do it. No, this is going to sound it's going to sound backwards, okay? If we go to a college credit plus ASL course, so say you did ASL 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? But you say your 4th one was going to be college credit plus ASL. If you were to do that, our kids revert backwards. A college level ASL 1 class is our ASL 1. It's more like like our original ASL 1. Our kids they're not gaining a lot of new knowledge from it. So what you want to try to do is go the interpreter certification route.
Right.
So you can pay money, you can do all that stuff. On the back end of it, if you have that, colleges will give you credit for it. You know what I mean? They'll count it as a credit. So it's kind of like a flip-flop way of doing it. So, yeah.
Because ASL was my foreign language in college. And my daughter and son both took it, and they know more than I learned, I think, in college. And I think they would go into college and probably blow the first semester people out of the way because they're so well versed in it right now.
Right, and that's why I said we're very fortunate we have great teachers, and unfortunately that's kind of we would set kids back if we went that direction.
Okay.
So that's kind of it's kind of tough, but we got to do most of our kids want to be able to go to they want to be able to do more.
Right.
And not go back and just breeze through something really quick. So they're taking that class for the challenge. You know, that's the reason why you're going to ASL 4. So,
Thank you.
So how many all in all college credit plus offerings are there at the high school?
At the high school. So right now we have 2 math classes through Wright State. Mr. Lytle teaches those. We have another teacher who's finishing up their certification to be able to teach a statistics class, and we're working on trying to bring in a college class. Because the thing with the calculus, it's very engineer driven. Like if you want to go into engineering, we need to get into we need a statistics class, college credit plus statistics. That's where if you're going to go into nursing and everything, that's the one that they really kind of push you gravitate towards. So we're trying to get that, and also a math modeling class that Edison offers. So those are next to go, or to come in. We also now will have 4 English classes in there. Communications is considered an English credit. We used to carry a social studies, but enrollment dropped very quickly. We would like to try to get Edison government. That's another one that our kids take. So when the availability comes for us to get somebody to do that, we have a lot of kids that take a lot of classes at Edison. Obviously, is how close it is. It's interesting because you'll go to basketball games and it's like a reunion to see the kids that you used to have. Even though they're still your students. Because they're over there full time. So our kids take advantage of that, and I encourage it. Like my own daughter, we encouraged it and helps them out. But still, like I said, we want to try to get more of that. When College Credit Plus first came out, when the state made an initiative, it was I mean, it was pretty wild, wild west. Everybody was teaching College Credit Plus, and nobody had certifications, and you had 5 years to get these certifications. And then it got hemmed in pretty quick, and so then everybody they were carrying all these classes, and all of a sudden they couldn't carry them. And so now we are kind of rebuilding all that to do that. But like I said, that's through Tony's hiring and Jeremy's finagling and Scott's grant writing and my begging. How about that?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
you know,
like
stuff.
that idea. I'm glad you're doing that because, going off the high school premises is good for some,
Right.
but I think it's a drawback for others to have to leave
Right.
the campus to go take the College Credit Plus. So I think that's great that you're
Yeah, you go down in
increasing
this Mac, and you go down in the student union, and every class period there's kids working on College Credit Plus classes. That's where they kind of gravitate to. So they're doing that. They just, a lot of them are doing stuff online, and we want to try to get that to be in person.
Yeah.
There's always going to be the online element, There's always going to be that, but, some of our kids, we got great teachers, and our kids want to be with them, and we'll get that taken care of.
good.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a great report, thanks. That's it?
Good night.
All right, that's it for the superintendent's report. Now we're just going to move right into the superintendent's agenda.
I'd like to recommend the board approval of the attached list of donations and grants. There are several there that people donated to several of our programs, and can't say enough how much we appreciate that people think of our programs and support them because they are so valuable to our students and our district culture. So really appreciate all those donations. Board approved the board approval of the 2024 Piqua High School state testing schedule. This is the same that we do every year. Because kids are in classes at different grade levels, it's really impossible to do state testing with the amount of time we're required to give in a full day setting. So we have to make some adjustments in that schedule so that we can use the staff we have, put the kids into groups and get them that state testing. So you've seen that, but no different than what we've done in the past. Recommend board approval of the PHS softball team's overnight field trip to Waverly, Tennessee. You've had that information if you have any questions on that. Recommend board approval of the Piqua High School Program of Studies for 24-25 school year that Mr. Messick just presented. Recommend board approval of the attached resolution authorizing membership to the Ohio Athletic High School Association for 24-25 school year. We do that every year as well. This is the time that we do that. No different than anything from the past. And they recommend board approval of the attached 24-25 and 25-26 district calendars. That's it, unless you have any questions.
How soon will those calendars be up on the website?
Tomorrow, they're already scheduled to go to the curriculum department or the technology department to get on our website.
Okay.
So they'll be on there probably tomorrow.
All right, any questions for Dwayne? All right, we need a motion to approve the superintendent's agenda.
So moved.
Second with Steve. All right, all those in favor of approving the superintendent's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I said I over.
Thank you.
All right, motion passes. Now we're going to move to personnel agenda.
Thank you. First of all, I want to recognize Amy Howard, number 6 on this list. She's one of our building subs, and Rob just left. He would have talked a little bit longer about her. She's been fantastic for us there every day, making sure everything's covered. She's been really good as one of our full-time building subs. And she was fortunate enough to get a full-time job. Great opportunity at Miami University. I mentioned that in my update. So hate to lose her, but happy for her, obviously. And then Lori Motter, I mentioned Lori in my update too. I think what I saw was, when I looked it up, I think it was 86 or 88 that I put in there, when she actually started subbing for us, and then a full-time job in 92 or 93. She's been with us ever since. So we're going to miss her, but she's, I'm sure, happy to start looking at the next chapter. So thanks to her for sure. The one that didn't get on the list, I believe, is, I don't think Casey made my update, Casey Bornhorst. We just wrapped up with a final walkthrough, I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday at Washington Primary. We were fortunate enough, based on the needs and number of new evaluations and reevaluations that we're going to have in the hopper over the next few years, and the increasing number of students with special needs, there was no doubt that we needed an additional school psychologist. We went through the numbers pretty closely with Amy, and because it's continuing and ongoing, we're going to have to replace that position. You don't just replace those positions. They don't just line up at your door to be a school psychologist. When you hire one, you spend months trying to find somebody that's going to fit with what your needs are. Well, through Amy's network, Amy Todd, our director, she was able to get this name of somebody who was finishing up her internship this year. And we got her in, and I think Teresa was in on that process. I know the initial interview, and it doesn't happen a lot. Were you in on that one? It doesn't happen a lot, but once we got done, they're kind of, the 6 people in the community are kind of looking at me like, why are you still sitting here? We got to get her. So we spent a lot of time on the phone back and forth after we met again to follow up on some additional questions. And ultimately, it's one of those things where she could write her own ticket to any district that has an opening. And I was really excited when she followed up, called back and said she feels like she wants to be here. This is exactly what she's looking for in a building of her own with her kids. So she signed off on it, and we got it on the agenda, and we're excited. She's going to be a great one. And that really rounds out everything. That gives us a secondary school psychologist where there are so many fewer initials, and most of your initials are going to be at the primary K3, and then some more at the intermediate. So those buildings each have their own psychologist, and we have one that serves, that 4th one that will serve the secondary. So right now I feel like we're in a good place for that. So that's
Each
hers.
building has one, kind of?
Except for the secondaries, we have one that serves both buildings.
Both of them,
Yeah.
okay.
And at the intermediate building, Kylie does all of the non-public schools as
Right.
well, which is a massive amount of work, because we have to do all of those students as well.
And the primary initially was doing Nicholas School as well. So now we can kind of divide that load, and this position can pick up our 504s. 504s are becoming, again, an increased number of kiddos with 504s because of medical needs, and those have to be monitored very, very closely. And they don't have the oversight because of the requirements on an IEP, which is every year, every 3 years. It's not the same, but you still got to make sure you have the right oversight. So this will really help clean that up too. So I spent more time on that one because she didn't get on the update.
Well, it's an additional staff position that we haven't had in the
Yep.
past, and we went to 3 when I first got here, so that'd be 12 school years ago, and so in 12 years now we have a need for a 4th person. So I mean, it just gives you the trajectory that we've been on, and we're operating at max caseloads right now with all of our special ed teachers. So we have that challenge that we continue to face. They can only have a maximum of 16 in their classroom. So at some point, we're going to have that conversation coming. It's just it's growing exponentially at the moment.
And then Lindsay Clark, our new nurse at Washington Primary, excited to get her started on the 11th. She's a fantastic hire, coming from the private sector, actually from Greenville, what's the hospital? Wayne. She had fantastic experiences in leadership. Like that'll help us with coaching our adults and different things with kids. So, and they're happy to have their full-time nurse back. So she's had a great start. So, and then of course we had Brett Levy's resignation. That's in the supplemental area. Once again, thank him for doing a great job with that program, and we're happy to have Ryan Callison coming in. Ryan's been with us for the last 5 years as an assistant, and brought him in and had great things to say about the direction he wants the program to go in, and we're very confident in him. So excited to get him on board. He started the night we talked to him and introduced him to the kids pending board approval. They started, which was awesome to see. So it's going to be fun to watch. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Tony? All right, we need to have a motion for the personnel agenda vote.
So moved.
Kelly?
Second.
Second by Schumer. All right, Jeremy, we call roll?
Mrs. McMackin.
Aye.
Mrs. Mars.
Aye.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye. All right, we have no old business. Moving on to new business. Wayne?
Yep, we have the first reading of the Neola Board Policy Update. So Jojo, you're new at this, I'll just explain a little bit, how that works. Neola is a company that most districts work with, they either work with them or OSBA to make sure all board policies are up to date. So anytime a law changes, or what was the Ohio Department of Education, which is now a different program, whatever they come up with, edicts for school districts, they make sure that we're all in line with them. So they'll meet with the three of us, and if there's any policy in here that might affect maybe like direct student services or special education, we bring them in, they review all the changes with us, and then they get on here. You guys have the first opportunity to read it, and then there's a second read before they get approved.
Now, the lines and stuff was just things we had to take out, right?
Yep, those are things that got taken out because laws changed or something like that, so.
What about, I'm mixed up on immunizations. Do they
Immunizations.
not have to have anything now? Are we not allowed to tell them?
They do, but they changed the age of when they're required, and they took out chickenpox and hepatitis B as requirements. However, if there is a chickenpox breakout, I would still have to contact those families and say, there's a breakout now, and offer different kinds of educational settings for them so that they can continue without being exposed to the virus.
Okay, measles, I heard on the news that one school district is having, not in Ohio, but it was in another. Measles were coming out terrible.
Yeah.
Do we make them get immunized for
So
measles?
it's a requirement for school. Our parents actually do a really good job. Our nurses work really well with our parents. If a parent opts out for whatever reason, or maybe the kid had them already before they got vaccinated, and they don't want to do the vaccination, the board policy requires them to notify me. And then I keep that list, and then again, if we had an outbreak like that, I would have to notify those parents and let them know that there's an outbreak, and try to provide an alternate setting so that it doesn't get out of hand.
I think that was the only one that I had questions about.
A lot of them are technical changes. For example, we went from the Ohio Department of Education to the Department of Education and Workforce. They changed their name, so they're correcting that in policies, but it doesn't change the policy. A couple of them, they have to review every 5 years, and they do that, but they don't make any changes. So many of them don't change, meaning they just change little bits here and there, so nothing really major. But this is the first read for you, so the next time would be a second read. So if there's any questions, I can answer those, and then once you approve them, we would take the board policies that affect things like principals' work or curriculum work, nurses, whatever. We'd make sure they get all those policies so that they can make adjustments in what they do, and we can be in compliance. Okay?
We don't need to take a vote on it this week?
Nope.
We'll vote on it next month.
Yep, that's it.
All right, that's all for new business. Then we have nothing of hearing of the public non-agenda items. But now I will take a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of appointment, employment, dismissal, promotion, demotion, or compensation of employee, student, and/or school official as permitted under Ohio Revised Code 121.22.
We will not be taking any action.
There will be, no decisions will be made and no action will be taken. We need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those, does that roll, we need to roll call that, Jeremy?
Yep.
Okay, roll call for executive
Mrs.
session.
Mars.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mrs. McMackin.
Aye.
We will be coming out of executive session to adjourn.